The EBO's endoskeleton is very similar to ours, at least in terms of composition. There's collagen, hydroxyapate, but also copper oxide crystals where marrow would normally be found. Their respiratory system. Their cellular respiration is equivalent to ours, i.e. they need to oxidize organic components to produce energy. Their lungs have no reciprocating action, rather having a unidirectional flow of air, similar to those seen in birds, which is more efficient than ours. Vocalization is produced by vibrations of the wall membrane at the junction between the two air sacs. The circulatory system of EBOs is rather analogous to ours. The heart has two ventricles and two atria. There is an aorta, a pulmonary vein, a pulmonary artery, and a vena cava. Blood flowing to the pulmonary capillaries via the pulmonary artery is pumped against the flow of air, maximizing gas exchange efficiency. The blood-gas barrier is relatively narrow in these capillaries, at least compared to a human. Then oxygen-rich blood is returned to the heart and then expelled into the aorta and the rest of the body. Before returning to the heart, the blood will pass through the hepatorenal organ, which, among other things, filters and controls osmotic pressure of the blood. The color of the blood is brownish, given the high proportion of plasma and concentration of metal ions. The excreto-sudoriferous system is completely different from what I've seen. There is no large orifice like an anus or a urethra to get rid of biological waste. Instead, there are countless small pores on the surface of the skin. There's a large medial organ called the hepatorenal organ, which acts as both kidney and liver and is central to maintaining homeostasis. The digestive system is extremely underdeveloped. There's no stomach in the familiar sense. However, there is a pseudostomach located at the transition between the thoracic and abdominal cavities. This organ is not involved in digestion but only serves as a reservoir. A sphincter controls the flow of food into the intestine. The intestine is limited to the equivalent of our small intestine. It only serves to absorb liquids and nutrients and acts as the main digestion site. The intestine ends in the hepatorenal organ, where non-digested material is transported to the ureter and excretory system. Residues are dissolved in the ammonia of metabolic waste for excretion. There is an organ near the pseudostomacal sphincter that secretes digestive enzymes directly into the intestine. This organ is inspirationally called the digestive organ. Given the absence of teeth, the narrowness and rigidity of the esophagus, the absence of a true stomach, and the absence of defecation, it is strongly believed that EBOs can only consume food in liquid form. It is assumed that, given the high metabolic needs of their brains, this food would have a high carbohydrate concentrate. In order to meet other metabolic needs, there must also be a high protein content in the food consumed. Given the strict limitations on the type of food that they can consume, it's unlikely that this type of creature could survive in our biosphere without technological support. The immune system is another unknown. There seems to be an innate immune system, but there doesn't seem to be any adaptive immunity, at least not similar to what is known. There's a thymus-like organ near the heart that's proportionally larger than in humans. This organ seems to be where all the blood cells mature. The immune cells that germinate here have a high copper concentration. The nervous system is also relatively similar. The spinal cord begins at the base of the central lobe of the brain and propagates down the vertebral column. In the vertebrae, there are ganglia made of afferent and efferent neurons. The musculoskeletal system is very ordinary, albeit underdeveloped. Most of the human skeletal muscles have an equivalent, only the hands, feet, and forearms are different. We speculate that artificial molecular machines may be present in their body, and that copper, if present, would be essential to their function or assembly.